What's going on, you guys? Angie here, single mom, therapist, former educator, just coming on to talk about some things that have been going on in my life in hopes that maybe they will help you right where you are in yours. So, the last time I did a video, I talked about my new job. So, over the past couple of months, I have been having a lot of transitions going on, changing between jobs, moving homes, just getting started on some other projects, and my son has had to go through that whole process as well as a 9-year-old boy. So, in my last video, I talked about the switching of jobs. This time, I wanted to talk a little bit about my home. Now, I want to talk about it from an emotional standpoint rather than the financial standpoint. Eventually, I would like to do that, but I'll do that in a different video. I just kind of want to tell you all about the house and how I landed here and how I decided to actually buy right now. So, I moved to this area. I live in central Pennsylvania. I'm about 80 miles west of Philadelphia and 55 miles north of Baltimore, just to kind of give you perspective for where I am in the state of Pennsylvania. I am originally from Philadelphia, and I lived in Westchester, Pennsylvania, which is about 40 miles back east of here, from where I currently am, for many years. After college, which I actually attended college more in the area where I currently live now, actually further west. But after college, I got a job teaching right out of school, teaching Spanish in Westchester School District outside of Philadelphia. So 2 years into teaching, just about, I bought a home there, and I owned that home for 13 years. Now, it was a stretch for me to buy a home at that time, but I think it was what it was. I learned my lessons on home buying and home ownership. I didn't live in that home the whole time. I actually rented out for part of the time just because life changed for me just in general. So I owned it and it was what it was. I actually bought the house right before the 2008 market economy crash and housing market crash. So I was upside down on it for a while financially and just held on to it and kind of just went with it. What really caused me to sell that house was that I just felt like I had outgrown it, and there were some memories attached to it that weren't the best, and I had a little boy, and I just wanted to go move on. So I sold that in February of 2020, right before COVID put us on lockdown. For about 6 months after that, I rented, maybe it was a little more than 6 months. Yeah, about 8 months. After that, I rented nearby. So I sold the house. I didn't buy another house right away. I rented nearby. And in that time frame, I switched jobs and got the job that I was previously working in out here where I currently reside. I was renting from that employer and was right next door to the job where the school where I was working. And it was what it was, but I have to be honest, I never felt comfortable living in my employer's home. I felt like there were some things that they just weren't very conscientious about. And it really rubbed me the wrong way being an employee there and having them not kind of keep my house up to standard, up to code. Another thing is, it was a pretty big home that I wasn't equipped to take care of. Like, there was a lot of land outside. I mean, it was beautiful, but we never really needed that much. And it always felt a little big. It was drafty. It was expensive in the winter. And it just ended up, it did the purpose. I mean, it served a purpose while we were in it, my son and I, but it was time to move on. I knew in my heart of hearts that I probably wouldn't be a renter long. So when I moved here in August of 2020, I immediately got a realtor back then. And I really just wanted to know a little bit about the market here, what some of the options were that were available, what the market was like. And that's why I signed on so early with the realtor, thinking that at some point in the future I would end up buying, which I did, obviously. So I'd signed on with her, and she had put me on to this portal where properties, when they would pop up, they would populate for me and come into my email. What's ironic is this house wasn't one of the ones that populated. I found this house on Zillow, and what happened was I was feeling really, really defeated in the home buying process between COVID, between like just how crazy the market was. We all know just how people were buying way over. Well, I remember my realtor called me and said, "Hey," and this was probably towards the end of 2022, and she was like, we should really start getting back out there. Things are calming down a lot in the market. So I was like, okay. And I started up with her again, but quickly was getting defeated again because I just wasn't liking anything here. Y'all, everything here just felt so old to me. It felt so like prehistoric, so to speak. Like I felt like I was in the Stone Ages, just these old raggedy houses that were costing a lot of money. I mean, and it just kind of is what it is out here. So I was like, I'm never going to find what I want, which is this house, is what I want. Just so happened I saw it on Zillow, as I was saying, and I messaged my realtor and was like, "Can we go see this tomorrow?" And she said, "Yeah. I mean, they just had an open house today, but we'll keep our fingers crossed and we'll just go and see you tomorrow." I came here, I saw it, and I cannot tell you, like, this was the first house in going on 2 years that I was like, actually, it was over 2 years, and over 2 years that I was like, I really love this home. Like, I just loved it. Everything about it. It was what I was asking for. It was a townhome. It had 3 bedrooms. There were 2 bathrooms. There wasn't a lot of yard space. There was no homeowners association to pay into. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's just like a governing body that kind of oversees a neighborhood, and they take care of the outside and they provide amenities, and you pay into that. But there's also a lot of restrictions that go along with that. Well, this place is in a neighborhood and a community, but it's not owned by a homeowners association. It's not governed by one. So that was like great. I wouldn't have to pay money on that. So it just had everything that I was kind of looking for. So I said to my realtor, I was like, let's go make an offer on it. And I think she was shocked because she was like, well, why don't you think about it? And I was like, no, no, no. I thought this is what I want to do. And from there, it just kind of went. And then I closed on it February 15th. And we have been here since officially fully my son and I since the end of March. I actually ended up staying in the last place after I closed for a little bit just so we could have like a transition time in between. Now, the one thing that I did not like about the house is it is a little further from the city where I work and where he is going to school and where like most of the action is. Being in central Pennsylvania, like there are very limited like bigger cities, and I was living like right in one before. Even though it was like a more suburban type neighborhood, I was close to everything. Here, it's like a 20-minute drive at least to get back down to some of the restaurants, some of the stores we shop at, to go to school. It's about 30-minute drive for me to go to work in, decent traffic. But I'm okay with it because I'm also a suburban girl. Even though I grew up in the city, I love my suburbs. So being here just feels right. Another thing I don't like about it is there's not a lot of diversity, but I feel like that's central Pennsylvania in general. I mean, the city that I live near, there's a lot of people of color, Latino population especially. So, you see them out and about more, but here, not so much. Yeah, so that's pretty much the house. One day when it's not looking so messy, I'll take you around on a tour of it so you can see the inside and you can see what my style is. But I did want to come on and just talk about how I was blessed to find this place that I absolutely love. And being here for the short time I have, it's funny. One of my friends came over and she was like, "You already have it like fixed up," and I do. But like the wall behind me is bare. I haven't put anything on the walls yet because I'm planning on having it painted in July. So I wanted to wait till I got everything painted and got the paint up before I started hanging, and then we wouldn't have to repatch and things like that. So once that's all situated, sometimes towards the end of the summer, I'll take you all on a walkthrough. But I just wanted to tell you a little bit about it. Was one of the changes I had mentioned, and I just wanted to tell you about how that went emotionally. Just the general process. I'll come back on soon and talk about the financial process and the financial aspect of it. Sorry. It's always a lot buying a house. Like I said, though, I was aware of what the process would be like. So, I feel like it wasn't as terrible as it could have been, but I'll save that for another time. You all go enjoy your day. As you can see, I got my hair done. I got my hair done earlier. So I'm probably going to go outside and show it off a little bit. I hope y'all find something wonderful to do today. And I will see you soon. Peace.